Hi, thanks for watching the Louie File. We've been talking about being a friend of God and what that means according to the scripture. This is the third video in a little series. It looks like we're going to have probably 4, maybe more, but Christians often say they're not religious, but they have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and sometimes I just wonder what we're saying and how do we know what that looks like and what does that mean. So that's what these videos have been about. So I would encourage you to go back and watch the previous couple and watch all these to get the full story. Last video we looked at Abraham in Genesis 18 and how he talked to God about saving some folks from Sodom and Gomorrah, and how he talked to God as a friend, and how that's pretty amazing to think that we can be a friend of God. So today we're going to look in Exodus chapter 32, and we're going to see what this looks like in Moses' case. In Exodus 32 we see this whole deal about the children of Israel and the golden calf. You know, Moses goes up on the mountain, he gets the commandments, he comes down and he finds the children of Israel partying it up at the foot of the mountain, and Aaron, Moses' brother, had become the head somehow while he was gone, and they made this golden calf and they became idol worshippers. Well, I guess they were already idol worshippers, and that was the problem. They had come out of Egypt, but they hadn't really let Egypt come out of them. They were still, I guess you could say, a friend with the world, if you look at Egypt as representing the world. And God was calling them out. He was calling them to a companionship, a relationship with Him. And of course, they had no idea what that meant. So this starts the big journey, this discovery of who they are and who God is and what the intention and the plan is. So God's not real happy with their behavior. So we're going to look in Exodus 32, starting in verse 7. It says, "Then the Lord spoke to Moses, 'Go down at once, for your people,'" I like that. God's telling Moses, your people are acting up down there. "Your people, whom you brought up from the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves." So I don't think God's seeing them as His people at this point. It doesn't look like it. He's saying, Moses, aren't you going to go deal with your people? It says, "They have quickly turned aside from the way which I commanded them. They have made for themselves a molten calf and have worshipped it and sacrificed to it and said, 'This is our God,' or 'This is your God, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt.' The Lord said to Moses, 'I have seen this people, and behold, they are an obstinate people.' Look at this. Now then, let me alone, that my anger may burn against them, and that I may destroy them, and I will make of you a great nation." So God's saying, I'm done with this bunch. They're hard-headed and stubborn and rebellious, and I'm going to wipe them out. And Moses, you and me are going to start over. I'm going to start a new nation with you. So look at Moses' response here. Verse 11, Exodus 32:11. "Then Moses entreated the Lord his God and said, 'O Lord, why does your anger burn against your people, whom you have brought out from the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians speak, saying, with evil intent he brought them out to kill them in the mountains and to destroy them from the face of the earth? Turn from your burning anger and change your mind about doing harm to your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself and said to them, I will multiply your descendants as the stars of the heavens, and all this land of which I have spoken I will give to your descendants, and they shall inherit it forever.' So the Lord changed his mind about the harm which he said he would do to his people." Man, what an amazing thing here. So now we jump over to Exodus 32, verse 32. Now you can read this whole chapter, but here's what I want you to see. In Exodus 32:32 it says, "But now, if you will, forgive their sin, and if not, please blot me out from your book which you have written." Amazing. Blot me out. I mean, if you're going to do this, then just take me out too. Wow. This is what it looks like to be intimate with God, to be a friend of God, with God. You start taking on His mindset. You start seeing the world the way He sees it. So Moses is saying, nope, I am willing to give my life for these people. Even if they're sinful and rebellious, I'm laying down my life. See, God was giving Moses an opportunity here to be full of pride. He was saying, I'll start over with you. But Moses' response is, I don't want to be the one. I don't want to be without these people. And this was God's real heart, his real point of this matter. And I think that God's like, now that's what I'm talking about. My boy Moses is getting a hold of it. He's seeing the cross. He's understanding sacrificial living. He understands how to give himself for others. Wow. Now we're starting to understand a little bit more about what it means to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, obviously, don't make mistakes here. Jesus himself, the human, wasn't walking around yet. I understand that. But Moses understood God's heart and his attitude and his character, and he was starting to display it himself. Wow, so that's what a personal relationship with God is all about. Being friends with God means that we're one with him in spirit, in mind, in heart, and we have the same agenda and the same outlook on things as he has. I hope you'll join me for another video after this. We're going to look just briefly at the Apostle Paul in the New Testament and discover what he came to know and what he displayed in his life to show himself to be a friend of God. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next Louie File.